there guys, my name is Nicole Prince and I am a reactivity specialist in the Eugene and Springfield area of Oregon. Reactivity is my bread and butter as far as dogs go, and it's actually my favorite thing to work on with dogs. So I wanted to share with you guys today in this video just a couple tips for all of you reactive dog owners out there who are looking for something to take the edge off just a little bit, especially if you're struggling with training and whatnot. The first thing that I have to share with you here is if you are the kind of dog owner who has been with your reactive dog, you see a trigger and you sort of pull over to the side of the path, you stop your dog, you try to get him to sit, you're stationary, you're waiting for that trigger to go by, stop. Stop doing that. If you are stationary and you're waiting for whatever to pass, that moment in time is being stretched out so much longer than it needs to be. I'm not saying that you should be passing right close to whatever the trigger is. You can go off the path in a lot of places and sort of sneak by. But what we want to do with reactive dogs is we really want to minimize the amount of time that they have to be stressed out about their trigger. And in the case of having a trigger pass by, the longer that you're stationary, the longer your reactive dog has to notice the trigger and to actually start to get in their reactive state of mind. A lot of people find that they have these safe places to go take their dog, and you fall into habits of where you're taking your dog. So there will be a certain route that you'll walk your dog through a neighborhood, and it's pretty much that route, or maybe you go the reverse route if it's a loop or whatever. But that's pretty much the route that you're familiar with, the route that your dog's familiar with. That's not ideal. In those cases, a lot of the times the dogs realize, hey, this is my familiar route, I recognize this, and they're not exploring anymore, they are patrolling. Now, when you're patrolling, you're on guard, you're on alert, you're looking for things that are different, you're looking for things that are amiss. Maybe you sniff out I go to this checkpoint, then I go to check that one, then I go to check that one, but there's no novelty there. And the dog's state of mind is not necessarily in one that's relaxing and having fun adventuring and having fun finding novel things. So my best advice for people who do this is stop it. Put some more variety into those walks. That doesn't mean just go blindly into a new area or into a new place. But add some variety and pick your environments that are inherently interesting for your dog. Go find places where they can sniff and they can do so peacefully. If that's the kind of place that you're picking, make sure it's a larger place where you have a lot of space that you can explore with your dog. The worst thing that can happen to dogs who are reactive or dogs who have fear problems or anxiety is that they stop being taken places. A lot of times people do that because there's a lot of triggers in the environment, but that's the worst thing that can happen to them. Instead, we have to give them coping tools and take them places that are safe. And then lastly, another thing that I see very commonly is people not taking the right treats. If you are rehabilitating a dog, whether they have aggression, whether they're reactive, whether they're fearful, anxious, etc., that does revolve on treats because we are trying to change the dog's, the way that the dog sees the world, the way that the dog perceives their triggers and perceives all these other things. You can't change their mind positively with any sort of punishment. So if you're punishing your dog for reactivity, whether that's with a prong collar or an e-collar or a choke chain or something like that, you're not actually teaching them to be calmer or to be better around their triggers. The only ways that that'll happen is with treats, and that's also the only ethical way that that'll happen, but that's a conversation for a different day. If you already are taking treats with your dog and you're noticing that your dog has trouble eating those treats when they're reacting, or the treats just aren't enough, that is some valuable information for you regarding those scenarios. Those scenarios are too difficult for your dog and overwhelming, and you need to dial it back a little bit. In any case, those are my tips for you guys. So stop stopping on the trail and move past the triggers as quickly as you can. Jog past them if you have to. There's no big deal. Nobody says you have to walk and just mosey past the trigger. Go ahead and jog past it. Run by it. That's totally okay. The next thing is to make sure that you're not patrolling the same area over and over again. We want to make sure that reactive dogs do get places that they can decompress and places that are novel to them. And then number 3, make sure that you are using treats and make sure that you're using the right treats. If your dog doesn't like the treats or if you aren't using treats, you're not benefiting anybody. If you want to know more about reactivity in general, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'm a reactivity specialist. Go ahead and reach out to me. The link to my site and ways to get in contact with me will be in the description. Is that what we call it in YouTube? It'll be in the description below. And feel free to reach out. I'd love to talk to you and help you with your dog.